Do it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. My name is Mr. Abraham, the chair of the student family. I'd like to welcome my committee. I'd like to welcome Ms. Bobby Brown. She's online. And our board member, Mr. Joe Sokoloff, and my staff, Mr. Plana and Ms. My guys, so many names. And we have online Ms. Lane. Thank you, Ms. Lane, to be with us tonight. Appreciate that. And we have tonight we have three amazing principals. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Victoria Egri, Bryant School.
Singita Bella, Discovery Magnet.
Olga Leiva, I'm interim and helping out as climate specialist at Luis Munoz Marin School this year.
Thank you. And thank you for IT department, and John will always be here with us too. I'm going to start with the minutes for March 17, 2022. And I can motion for approve it.
So moved.
A second. Any discussion? Any change? Anything to change, Ms. Brown?
No, sir, it's all set for me.
All right. Thank you. On second and an agenda, we had discussion of forming the district parent handbook. I thought Mr. Testani is going to be here, but Mr. Testani excused himself to doing something else. But I have Mr. Plana. Can you give us a little information about that, please?
Yeah, we are in the process of forming a committee very shortly to get the handbook up and running. I spoke to him today, and we are stealing some of the best that we have to ensure that we have a good handbook out there.
Awesome.
Do you really have some parents involved and
We don't have a full committee, but I know he has some names right now.
okay.
So he's working on it diligently.
Okay. They need to tell you when maybe there's gonna be another type of meeting, call this committee of parents and leaders and staff to see what we can start. At least something, before we finish the school.
Okay.
Or, next month, maybe something simple, to see if we can know each other, who's gonna be the committee. Okay, the third in the agenda is going to be the PAC meeting. So president with the principal, but I'm having today three amazing principals. I appreciate that, your time. This is the first time we having principals with the PAC. I just want to know because I bring this because I just want to know here, how they work, what they do in the school, how to spend the money, how they're working, each other, how to spend, workshops and stuff like that. Because I know if you see, thank you, Ms. Rasha, I appreciate that for this. Everybody online, if you see all these pages and everything, this is almost the workshop in almost the 37 schools what we have in Bristol School. And I'm on top to be sure that all the leaders do workshop for our parents. So for now on, we're going to be changing principals and leaders come and talk to us because I want other new leaders know what the other leaders do to be sure they do workshop for the parents and we can bring parents in the school. So I'm going to start with Ms. Leiva. Can you give me a little information, what's going on, who's your president in your school,
Yes. Well, I'm working as climate specialist this year at Luis Munoz Marin School. I kind of fill in as an administrator when they need an administrator because I am a certified administrator. And I also help with what I call the public relations of the school, working with the community, the parents, the children and the staff, and kind of embracing all of them to work together. I've set up a number of workshops this year. We, in fact, just had one last night where I had Habitat for Humanity come and talk to our parents and tell them how they can get their own brand new freshly built home at Simply Quest. And we had so many parents interested in that. And by the way, I have applications because they would left me with applications. Many years ago, I was a member of the board of directors for Habitat for Humanity. So I involved a lot of families at the time, and I want to continue involving our families because housing is a very serious issue in our community and something that our families need, especially large families. So we had that meeting last night. I have applications for people that are interested in applying to see if they can qualify for a home. So if you need applications, call me. I have them. Okay. I have quite a few extras. This year, we've done many different events at Luis Munoz Marine School. The time we had the open house in September, we had an event for the parents. I had a setup so that we could talk to parents and tell them what PAC is about and how important they are to the school community. And I got a lot of parents to sign up to be members of PAC. And through the whole school year, they worked closely and participated in many of our workshops. So it was kind of a recruitment drive that I had in September during the open house. In October, we had a trunk or treat, and we had the whole parking lot full of cars, you know, with their trunks open with gifts and candy for the kids. It was a huge event, and we had many families participate, including parents. They had also decorated their cars and, you know, and their trunks to the community. So it was very big. I have a lot of pictures of that, but I didn't know we had facilities. I could have shown some. In November, we had the SEL, the socio-emotional learning family Thanksgiving dinner evening. And at that evening meal, we had our staff members, our teachers, help parents how to set up family charts, just like they have classroom charts about expected behavior and you know, general expectations. We help families create their own charts for their home to use with their children. We also got lots of donations, especially from a Christian church in Milford. We received over 70 turkeys, and we gave them out. We also received from Al's Angels, we received a lot of food. We packed it in with turkeys into big shopping bags, and we gave families their whole Thanksgiving dinner plus extras to take with them. So they were very thrilled with that. And this takes working with the general community also, because to get the donations and everything, you have to be open to communicate with the community at large. In November, we also had the Hispanic Heritage Door Contest so that our students learned about Hispanic heritage and things that are outstanding in the general world culture of the Hispanic heritage. So that was important. We had some amazing doors, some amazing decorations. It was so touching. We were so impressed. In December, we had a Saturday breakfast with Santa. And the children came and sat with Santa. They took pictures. They had their breakfast. It was a very jolly time. We had gifts to give away to the children. So the family and the children enjoyed it very much. In December, we also had a Jingle Bingo. And we had Mr. Pedro Vasquez, who's now still working with the math department, right? For a time, he's also retired. He came in as a young man when I was already kind of a veteran teacher, so I know him very well at Harding High School. And he's an excellent participant and a great mathematician. So we had a bingo night, but instead of calling out numbers, he would give mathematical formulas so the students and the parents could figure out the numbers to fill on the bingo cards. So that was a lot of fun. We had prizes for the families. We had food bags. We also had toys available so that it would make it worthwhile for the families to be there and participate. In January, we had a very big Three Kings Day celebration, again involving the community. People like Maria Valle and her community action committee brought in tons of toys. We really had like thousands of toys. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn it off. We had the Three Kings, we had music in the background. Parents were coming in through their cars and driving through the lot, picking up toys. No child left without at least 2 toys. Seriously, it was a big giveaway. In January, we also had a big attendance meeting with the parents to discuss with parents the importance of their children having regular attendance at the school, because especially with COVID, we had so many children missing out on their education. And the adjustment for children has been quite difficult, both in being on online classes and in returning to school after having been out for quite a while. So it's been a very difficult social and emotional adjustment for children to come back to schools. And by the way, this is an aside, but we find that some children are as far as 2 years behind academically because of this timeout. So it was very important for us to discuss perfect attendance with the parents, consistent attendance, so that we can start erasing some of the damage that has been done by this crisis, this COVID crisis. In February, we had another PAC meeting on guiding children and parents supervising their children in their use of social media. Because so many people and so many young people have gotten into the wrong websites and has created some very serious consequences. So we had a speaker from RIASAP. RIASAP has worked very closely with me. They were also, during the trunk or treat, were present at the school. And they spoke to the parents about all the different websites to be careful with their children. They had a screen demonstration of what to be conscious of when letting their children use computers on their own. So that was a very important meeting. Parents were so grateful for that, because many of them, especially new arrivals, many that are coming from countries where there's not as much access to social media and the internet, really needed this information to be able to monitor and supervise our children. So that was very, very good. In February, we also had a Black History door contest. We also had some great door decorations, very impactful. And in February, we also had a meeting with a representative, one of our former principals, Mrs. Delgado, from the Council of Churches. And she had a meeting on helping parents develop strong parenting skills and training. And she also offers a workshop, a 14-week workshop that parents signed up for to take to help them become acclimated to our local society at this time. Especially new arriving parents need that. And many of our parents took the opportunity and signed up for the course and participated in it.
Sorry to interrupt you. That was for the February, you say?
That was February.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going into March now. In March, we had a parent-child dance. That was such a successful event. The children and the parents just enjoyed it so much. We had such a large crowd, but all very joyful, very happy. By the way, at these meetings, we also have dinners or food for the parents. So some of the money from the PAC goes into providing food, to kind of entice more parents to come. They like it when, we have a variety of different foods available for them. In April now we had a PAC community partnership with Habitat. And that's the one I told you we just had last night, where they got the applications and learned about what Habitat does in our community and how important it is for families to be able to obtain their own home and the steps they have to go through with Habitat to get them. So, and as I said, as a former board member of Habitat, I was able to kind of get them to come in and do a little extra for our parents. Another event I had set up for April, but I'm going to move it out another week and a half, was with Optimus Health Clinics. I was also on the board of Optimus for many years, over 11 years, and I fought very hard to bring the Optimus clinics into the schools. So if you know now, most of the schools have an Optimus clinician in the building. That wasn't always the case. It took a lot of pushing and shoving and demanding to be able to get that into our schools. But especially new arriving parents know little about all the services that Optimus offers. So we spoke some about it last night, and because the people at Optimus that usually work with me to come to the schools were all on vacation this week, we're going to set up a meeting in another week and a half to an informational meeting for the parents about Optimus and all the services they provide. We also had this month a Discovery Museum presentation for K through second students, and it's sponsored by PAC, okay, for our children. And the theme was sound and teaching them about sound and what creates sound and all that. We had such an enthusiastic audience from our children. They enjoyed it so much. And we have a STEM Day coming up, which is provided by one of our science teachers. He's going to be working with the K through fourth grade classrooms, and he's going to do science experiments with the children. And his father is going to come and participate with him in doing this presentation. This is something we've also put together because we need to bring the community together as a whole. In May, I have another math event set up, and I'm going to provide parents again, especially parents that were not available at the first parent meeting. And we're providing parents a parent roadmap about what's taught in mathematics at the different grades. And the parents can take this home and use it as a tool to help their children with their homework or whatever. And we have it in both languages, so we have it available for the families. I've translated some of it, and we talk to the parents and go through steps with them to tell them about the parent roadmap. We're also sponsoring in May a Read Across America Day, and we have volunteer readers from the community to come in and talk to our students and read to them. And in June, I have two things already in the works. One is a career day, and it's for the 7th and 8th grade. And I'm contacting people in the community to come and speak to our students, especially people that have gone through the Bridgeport Public Schools and now have successful careers, so that they can show our students that it's possible, that they can do it. And I have a fellow, I'm a member of the Trumbull Town Council, and one of the other members of the Trumbull Town Council happens to have been a graduate of Luis Munoz Marin School. So I kind of twisted his arm, and he's so enthusiastic about coming back to his school and talking to kids about his experience as a student at Luis Munoz Marine School and where he is at today. So we're very excited about that. And by the way, if you know anyone in the community that you think would be great to come to speak to our students, I'd welcome even more names. So that's another thing. And another thing I have set up in the works, haven't finished setting it up, is a Flag Day celebration for June. So those are the things that, you know, I've been working with in the school. And we have such enthusiasm in our parents and such great participation that it makes it worthwhile. You feel like you're reaching out and they're responding. So that's so far the 21-22 school year for me. And I had some of the flyers I had put together for the different events, so I can pass them around if you want to look at them. And they can come back.
Thank you, Ms. Legra. But I have some questions, and thank you for your report. One of the things when I listen to you and this everything, all this event, they're amazing, and I like it. And I know you always with Marine schools. There's always you like me. I'm for Basing, and you Marine.
Yes.
We love all schools, but, you know, we got stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the most important things is when we got events like this and stuff like that. And I know parents enjoy, they come, they enjoy because we give food, we give free stuff, we give free toys and everything. Had to be very important. There had to be a workshop for educate our parents.
Yes.
Because I always do things like this. But before I give the food, before I give the toys,
We do.
have a presentation, somebody come, we can have educate the parents, we show the parent go home with some information they can use it for themselves, or they can help the children or another parent.
Yes.
It's very, very, very important.
And we do. Our PAC meetings are always 2 hours, and during those 2 hours, you know, we don't just give things away. We have a process in education and information session, and then we do the giveaways at the end of the night. But definitely,
Yeah.
You know, even like the math bingo, they were using mathematics. They were using formulas. It wasn't just reading a number. It was, you know, for example, one of the numbers may have been an even number between 40 and 48, you know, something silly like that, but that people have to stop and think.
Yeah.
Things like that, you know, odd numbers, or the product of 8 times 4, you know, something simple, but it's the process of going through the mathematical formulas to get numbers, not just reading out numbers.
Yeah, no, because it's very important that, you know, this is one of the issues that we have. And I know Mr. Joe, when he was the chair of student family, for years, we trying to educate our parents first.
Yes.
You know, we can have fun, we can dance, we can eat, we can give a lot of toys, gifts, and everything, a lot of things. But this is because sometimes they use the money for something, buy so much food or buy things.
Yeah.
No, it's so. Let's
No,
educate
we
the
don't
parents first.
buy any toys or giveaways.
Yeah.
We get donations.
Yeah.
Our money is only.
No, but PAC leaders, they can
Yeah.
order stuff, you know,
Yeah.
things for educated parents. Like you said,
Yeah.
math. I remember Mr. Prana when I was in Bassett High School. You know, I ordered a lot of things. He used it for math for the
Right.
parents.
Yes.
And parents enjoyed that. They are still remember,
Yes.
they enjoy. They forgot how to. And in my time, I was in the high school and elementary. I divide different. You know, every year they change.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents start dividing. Mr. Prana tell no, that's not the answer.
Yeah.
This is the way we, divide or multiply and everything. So they learn, and that's the way I want.
Yes.
Parents understand and learn and educate, and then the party is later.
Right. And really, if you look at all that done, you can see that educating parents is the biggest part of it.
Mhm.
But we also want to entice them to
Yeah, no.
participate.
No. Sometimes you have to, and I don't want parents sit down and use whoever do the presentation. I don't want the parent get bored.
Mhm.
Because they get bored, they're gonna stay. We have to enjoy, to have fun, and let them know we have this after this, we have this after that, just to stay, you know.
Mhm.
And I know you'll be okay in Mary's school. I know how you are when you workshop and everything. I to bring parents. I know I see you sometimes. You go outside, you take it out from the car. Some of it inside. I know you always do that. I'm very glad you're there.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Josaklo, you have any questions?
If it's okay, I want to hold off until all three speak and ask them all the same questions. And
Sound good.
make a little speech beforehand.
All right.
Yeah.
Sound good. All right. Who's next? Who will be next?
Brian, okay.
All right.
Brian, we have family activities as well, and we found that what's been helpful is when we start off the family activities, that's how we get parents to come, and we spend the first part of it working with parents and children together. So we'll talk about SEL. We've had, traditional events that have become a tradition at Bryant, and we're slowly getting back to a full slate.
Yeah.
We had a new PAC slate this year, and so we are beginning to work well as a team. And some of the things that, we've done with PAC funds, the orange communicator folders in English and Spanish, classroom teachers use these, parents know to look for these, and all communication homework goes home. This is for all pre-K through 6th grade. All of our 3rd through 6th grade students receive planners, being the homework, the spelling words are there. Parents are signing off at night, so they know what homework is and what any communications with teachers, in addition to the parent square. That's been a big increase, has helped really increase classroom teacher communication with parent square and the messages that are going home daily, weekly. Another thing that our PAC does, especially during COVID, this has been a tradition, is sponsoring student recognition monthly.
Mhm.
So perfect attendance certificates go home monthly. And all students with perfect attendance, typically we're running at about 100 students plus a month receive this. Our specialist music and art, sing tone and PE certificates, 1 per classroom. And then classroom teachers have most improved. Reading award, a principal's award. This is, I guess, the favorite. Teachers select a student demonstrating leadership, and students will come back and thank me for their award. And the perfect attendance are interesting because parents have asked us, well, where's the award this month? My child has perfect attendance over the years. So that's been one way to engage parents. We're also a Read to Grow school, so I'm working with Read to Grow. We have a workshop planned where we're going to have parents come in with reading strategies, and we're going to be distributing books just in time for summer. Some of the activities that are a tradition, a science night this year. We reached out to the Trumbull Nature and Art Center, and they did a very interesting session on beekeeping, which was really mesmerizing to our younger students, kindergartners that were there and their families, and we were talking about the science of that. Turkey bingo is always a big draw. We use a Saturday morning for that, and every family goes home with a turkey. Breakfast with Santa has been something popular. Paint art night. We do have planned for sometime in June a family game night, and we're doing indoor and outdoor games during that time and talking about physical fitness and what we can do over the summer to keep everyone healthy, active, and safe. We also reviewed at one of our family nights the district's computer programs that students and parents have access to, so we can encourage the use of the reading and math at home.
Mhm.
And each year, we meet with the PAC and we determine what would we like to continue with and what are some new things that we want to add in. And so that's a part of our planning process.
And it's interesting because we also do many of those, but it's not under my umbrella at the school. But we also have the perfect attendance days, the most improved, all those awards for our students.
Student recognition has been, I think, especially important this year,
Yes.
the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And because students look forward to each month, they know that these are coming out. And the classroom, some of our classroom students, every student's lead award that day, including attendance. And,
Right.
And some students will say, I'm working towards that award.
That's right. Yeah. It's awesome.
I know Ms. Brown, she was online, but I know she told me she's going to be in and out because she have a big event today. She really told me to excuse her, just in case she go off online. That's why you don't see her online. Did you just pass it?
So basically, it's an information session for now unless we get another quorum back, right?
So,
I'll add to it. I'll add to all the things that they're saying. You know, we start our planning in June because we bring in the PAC people, your president, vice president, just to sit down with them and get their ideas as to what they would like to do for the following school year. And because of the COVID, we hadn't done that and last year, but we started because we have to build our PAC from ground up. There was lots of people who had left, so we were building, and that was our beginning of the school year. But our biggest thing as bringing people together, we do a welcome back picnic, and that is a huge celebration of new families joining in and other families just getting together. With that, again, educational piece, when we do it, we also do breakfast with Santa, but we add with the literary books as to what's our favorite books. We'll have a book nook where kids will be reading with teachers, and then we raffle the books out so they know that these are the favorite books or these are the topics for holidays. Our STEAM night is a big event that we always do because that includes our math night and reading, also arts and music, because we want to celebrate all that. So we have been doing this. This year, our PAC has been, we have additional families who are Brazilian and Portuguese, and they wanted to bring multicultural event back because they wanted to celebrate those families. So we do that as well. So that is scheduled for June 4th. It's a Saturday, but they wanted to do it, and like, absolutely, if that's what you want to do. This is where we spend the PAC money, but our PAC is very visible and very vocal and very helpful in the school. So they will do fundraisers. They are part of they will do the picture days. They will do our book fair. Everything that goes, they will continue to work with our families and our children. Whether if we are having a field day, they will come and help. It's chaperone. They are always there to support. We did the fentanyl and opioid information session for the families because as we are coming back from COVID, we do anytime there's a new program, we always do a program where they can come and see. And because, math, when you and I went to school, it was different than what the math is being nowadays. So we always make sure that whatever the new program is, so they have an understanding of what it is, so they can assist children at home. So it's a good partnership with PAC and parents all the time. So I think we were able to spend all of our money. I just saw it, $73. I'm like, no, I need to get that $73 going. I shouldn't leave it for anybody. Discovery. I think there's 70.
Yeah.
huh?
My phone's.
I know. Discovery, Intermagnet, right?
Yes, there's $73.
Yes, there's 73.
I'm like, I don't know how did that got away from me.
And Brian's, spend that.
The
Brian,
vendor,
you spend 100%.
well, I have 39 cents. I was trying to find something.
Yes, 39.
Once you find the pencil.
Sometimes when we put the requisition in, the invoice will come back at a lower rate, depending if they didn't have all the materials.
Yeah, yeah.
So you really have to track it. Like I really
Right.
track this
Mhm.
spreadsheet set up for all the different accounts.
So
I just talked to Discovery Museum
Leave it for anybody.
workshop. I talked them into giving us a break in the price because we only had like $250 left in our account, and they usually charge $300. So I kind of finagled and talked my way into getting them to do it for $250, and they did it.
Or you spending on, like they say 99,
Yeah,
99.8.
yeah,
It's like you have $12.67, but But
yeah,
at least this year I can see they spend the money.
yeah.
I know we was on top. Thank you, Ms. Lynn. You'll be on top of this leader to be sure to spend the money. But that's why I asked this, because I'm going to do a lot of big homework summer, because I trust me and that I'm going to be on top of these vendors, because I want this leader to be sure they order stuff, educate for the parents, not because do you know them, not because this is your family. I do. That's why I asked it, because I know I was waiting for this.
Mhm.
And this is the most important part for me, to be sure. But I need to spend the money, and like I said in all my meetings, I don't want Hartford and say why Bridgeport is not spending the money the way it is. And I'm not worried for that. The sun that hit you right here, the sun.
Yeah, I have to.
But if you want to move past,
That's all right.
Yeah.
This is good. I just wanted to say something. This is an aside. I don't know if the meeting, if you're ready to close or not, but
no, not yet.
in the 1973-74 school year, I piloted a program for the city of Bridgeport, the title of which was Parents as Teachers. And what I would do is work with parents with common toys that were available at the time and teach parents how to use the children's toys to teach them things like math and vocabulary and all that. And an offshoot of that program was the homeschool coordinators and the early childhood program. That was the beginning of the pre-K program in the city of Bridgeport. And the pre-K is still going, but the parents as teachers is no longer going. You know, we, as a community, that has kind of been set aside. And that's something that perhaps the school system can look into for the future. Because I had a lot of parents who were able to kind of flourish with their own children. And as a result, some of the parents that got involved in that program ended up getting an education and becoming teachers themselves. So there are several people in our school system that became teachers because of that program. So, and I'm going back a lot of years, 73, 74 is a little while ago. It's a little while ago, but, you know, I thought I saw so much that it was so fruitful. And it would be nice to have something like that kind of thought about and finding a way to fund it or do something with it. I know they got rid of the homeschool coordinators. At one point, people who were homeschool coordinators had to have teaching certification. They changed that to paraprofessionals. But that was something that I thought at the time was very helpful. And, you know, as I said, we had so many parents that kind of flourished with that and became educators.
Yeah.
So.
Sound good. Yeah, I understand that. But one of the big points is, you know, I heard your side, I heard your side and everything, and it's good to be all kids involved. But it's very important to have parents involved. It's very important to educate the parents. I don't want they keep using the money because they want to buy this one, like you said, your certificate, your folder. That folder is for the student or for the parent?
Students, and this is what they communicate daily. So the classroom teacher uses it, all school memos go home with it. And
Yeah.
parents know specifically what needs to come back to school, what needs to be kept home.
The pack buy that for the parents so that it's.
So that it's,
Yeah, we have those
Information there.
also.
so that they know to look for this orange folder. Our parents know to look for this orange folder.
So, you know, I understand that part, but sometimes you have to be careful because I want to be sure they use the money for educate our parents. I know that's part of, you know, the teachers are sending information to the parent, let them know the parent what your child is doing in the classroom.
Just want
That's fine, that's fine. But I want to be sure too that they use the money to, you know, to all on, you know, a speaker that can come and talk or do a workshop, you know, do things for parents, you know.
the people we want to get.
I know that part because I know in our school or Parent Square, I know they can communicate with parents. But it's very important that we use the money to educate our parents. Like you can do, I'm gonna say a workshop for the MR, you know, CPR, stuff like that, you know, math, you know, science, you know, for the parents.
So when we have the teachers doing our workshops, they do it for free. Our teachers will volunteer the hour.
Teachers, they can volunteer and teachers, they can get paid
Well,
too.
but the teachers,
So back
too,
and
because
back,
we want to
yeah.
maximize, be able to put supplies in the hands of parents. We want to be able to send books home.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be able to have the parent and the child do the activity together so that there's some familiarity
Right.
how to do it, so that when these materials do go home, they're able to replicate it. So we're teaching the parent and the child
Okay.
together.
No,
And then,
that's one of my priorities. I want to show parents.
And then parents
You know.
like that, when they get something tangible and take it home. And our teachers are very generous in giving their time. So really,
Yeah.
math teachers, science teachers, literacy, art teachers, they will all give their time. So these materials are then just something that they will take it home and work with their kids. So it really works in the benefit of the parents and the
Yes.
And then
students.
it's true with the teacher.
I do, we do, and
Yeah.
then you do. So
Yeah.
the way we're teaching in the classroom,
Mhm.
scaffolding,
Yes.
I do, the teacher presenter showing it. We do parent and child
Mhm.
together with the presenter, and then you do, and that's the outside piece.
No, that's good. That's one of the priorities. I want the parents to sit down with your child and look and learn what he's doing because it's very easy. I remember years back, parents, they don't sit down with them.
Yeah, and you know what, the COVID had stopped the parents in the building, and as
Yes.
we have now, I know that for next year, it will look very different in all the schools too.
Yeah.
But we'll have more workshops, we'll have the whole thing as we used to do it in the previous years, so.
It's just, I'll give you the floor.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna be a couple of minutes. So we've been working towards this for years. Either Mr. Benahan or I have been chairing this committee for the last 5 to 6 years, and before that, we was parents as well. Some of what I'm gonna say applies to absolutely none of you in this room, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm gonna say it in front of every cohort of principals that have come before us, because there are some who may need to hear some things, and I'm not gonna pick out an individual principal to put on the spotlight. So the old adage, if it don't apply, let it fly. When I first came on the board, we noticed some schools were spending 0% of their dollars. And parent engagement, you can't force parent engagement. You can't have, I can't get angry or upset at the superintendent because the principals aren't getting people in their schools. What I could get angry at and upset at and evaluate a superintendent on is the evidence of not trying. Spending none of the PAC dollars is evidence that not even an effort's made, because anybody could draw people to a school, or at least attempt to, if you're feeding them. Tell a parent that they don't have to cook that night, they just got to come to the school, it's more likely they will show up. And as we all know, a parent who shows up at the school and brings their child, gives that child an expectation of school's important to my mom, so it should be, or my dad. Let me not be very sexually biased here. And it should be important to me, and that's something that will be filtered through. So we started really monitoring the spending, and the spending started going up, but in some cases it was paper spending. The principals in certain schools were just spending the money to spend it and not spending it effectively. And one principal was even signing off without the PAC president's approval, just spending the money. And that was an absolute no-no. It was a big little back and forth about that. And it was so rough at one time. Our previous superintendent, it was made part of her evaluation, the effectiveness of spending the money. And it's a part of this present superintendent. We got a few parents on this board. We've got a board committed to this. So if you see a superintendent coming around and asking you about this, or the supervisors of the buildings, it's coming from here, because we really are passionate about this issue. So that being said, now I could go into the questions. If I may, just
Sure, yeah.
if I'm gonna start on this end. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'm gonna ask the question and each of you give an answer, and it's just.
Victoria, I agree.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Avery. I'm sorry. What do you do to make the PAC president feel welcome in the school?
I'm sorry. Can you say that?
What do you do to make sure the PAC president feels welcome to come to the school?
PAC president is visible, and we communicate regularly. I've known her for many years now. She has one student who graduated. She has a first grader now. She's into the school, and she's visible in school. We talk throughout the year. We reviewed the budget and talked about where we were with the spending and what are the activities that we want to do.
Awesome. Okay, Ms. Bello?
It's the same thing. Our PAC president, she had 4 children. 2 have graduated since then. We still have 2 children. She was actually in the building today too. She was a little hesitant during COVID, so we were doing a lot of online. Now she has started to come back into the building, but in her absence while she was doing online, we had the vice president, other people. So we were meeting. They meet every month. We always welcome our parents. They are more than welcome to walk into the building as long as they were following protocols even during the COVID. So they know that they are very welcome. They can walk into, as long as we know who they are. And it's a relationship. We talk with them constantly. We collaborate with them and we plan with them. Just as I was saying that we'll be doing a planning meeting in June for the following school year. So we sit together, discuss, listen to their ideas, and then say, hey, this works. Sure, these are the needs of our parents. If they bring it to us, we'll say, sure, let's do that. So yeah, it's an open communication with our PAC.
And
Leva.
Leva.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and what do you do to make sure the PAC president feels welcome?
She's got her own office in our building that she can walk in and come in. It's alongside mine. So we work closely together. We call parent meetings. We call PAC board meetings. We plan together. Our PAC president happens to be one of the former students in the school when I was an administrator.
Oh, nice.
So, she knows me very well. I know her very well. We have very good communication. Sadly, for the last week and a half, she's been home with COVID, but, she's always available. We're a phone call away. I just took some groceries for her because I know she's been kind of out of commission a bit, but she can come into the school at any time. She has her own space. She has her own computer. She has her own phone number, and
They have their own bathroom.
yes,
No, they have everything there.
we do. And it's like a perfect setup. And when we have PAC meetings, the board meetings, all the PAC officers, we all fit in the room and can plan. And as I said, all the meetings that I put together this year with the PAC board have all been educational. We've had speakers at all of them. I don't feel that any of the meetings have been kind of a waste of time or just socializing. There has been a purpose to everything. So it's part of the learning process, and it's part of getting parents, out of their homes and into the school, which is what I think is most important. And it's something that since the 1970s I've worked with. So, yes. The school folder, like Victoria has, that is so awesome and so good to have. It's great because it kind of gives parents something to every day check on in their children's book bags. And it gives them the sense of being responsible for returning and answering and responding to what's in those folders. So it's excellent.
It's fine. You know why I asked for the folder?
Multilingual too, which is important for us.
And
to
it's
try
great because you send stuff there for the parents, and the parents, they can work with the students.
Mhm.
They can learn. But I ask you because I really know experience. Years back, it was my rent school, and somebody spent almost $2,000 in folders for the students, not for the parents. That's what I asked for that question.
No.
And when I find out that, as I said, and I know I think you was the chair of that time. And I went.
I wasn't there at the time.
No, you was not there. But I went crazy. I said, no, this is not for, you don't spend money for the students. I must say I'm against, but it's not for the parents. So that I had to start. That's why I told you, you have to be careful how to use the money.
Well, in this case, these are they're approximately $1 a folder. and it lasts the full year, which is good. And it's also very helpful.
The material is good too, you know, it's not.
Because Bryant has changed, our population has changed recently, and I believe we're approximately 1/3 of our students are Spanish speaking now.
Yeah.
And new arrivals, and so it's very helpful, especially so parents know, where are the notes going, because I still send things home in English and
Yeah.
Spanish as well as Parent Square. Many parents still prefer the paper. So
And that's part of parent education.
know what goes in there. And they also know what homework has to, in fact, teachers are very good about making sure for the parents, they know what has to go to school and what stays home. So it is, it's been about $1 a child, and it typically lasts the entire year,
Yes.
which is a good thing.
I got a bunch of questions. If we could,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if we could.
Yes, your
let-
floor is
just-
yours.
Just let,
Your
Stick-
floor is yours.
if we we'll get to it quicker if we stick to the questions and.
Yeah, okay.
All right, and I try to be judgmental and critical, but maybe I don't know. Okay, next question is, are you aware that the PAC leader has to approve the P10 and that the PAC leader can spend PAC dollars as they see fit, so long as there's an educational component attached? And I guess that goes to the folder, I guess.
And the folder was approved by my PAC and that recognition. Those were things that were in the budget.
Ms. Bella?
Yes, it does, because, they come to me with recommendation, because our pack is every month, and they will come that this is what we had discussed, this is where we want to spend the monies. And,
Labor.
Thank you, Ms. Leva. Are you aware that the PAC leader has to sign off on the P10? And that
Say that again?
PAC leader has to sign off on the P10, and that they have basically say on what they spend the money on, is so long as it has an educational component.
Our PAC president does everything that's financial. I don't touch the finances.
Awesome.
So she's the one that takes care of that.
Thank you.
She sits with the person in our school that's in charge of the budget, and she works on it. I put the ideas together, she finances it. I mean, we put the ideas together.
Yeah, like I said, these questions are going to be asked of every principal. It's going to give everybody an idea of what they're supposed to do. If they're not doing it, without being judgmental against anybody, hope I'm doing it right. Get the desired result without. Okay, now let's see. You don't have to answer this one because you already answered it. I'm sorry for pointing. Does your PAC have a space in the building?
I'm sorry, does my PAC
Does
have
the PAC have a space in the building? The PAC president?
place in the building? Bryant's is very space confined, but we do have beside the office, Read to Grow, and we have space there and it says parents on the outside with security. It's a small room, but we are very space limited with all of the additional staff and support this year. So we do make it work.
Awesome. Ms. Bella?
we do have it, is right in the library, there's a room, that is a packed room.
He's 95, almost 95 and a half.
God bless.
Got a lot of family history. Drive by some of his boyhood haunts a couple
Yeah.
times a week. And
Yeah,
I keep giving you
Oh,
stories.
I didn't know if you knew he was coming.
I knew it.
So yes, we do have it. They use it. There's we have given them shelves, there's tables, there is a computer for them. They have their own IDMS pack email that if they have to email each other, they do use that, and they will even send it to the families using the pack email, so they know it's coming from Discovery and it's coming from pack.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's not library.
So library has 2 rooms within the library.
Okay,
And it's it's like a classroom.
Okay.
So we have set it up for,
Okay.
one is for the PAC, one is for the librarian.
Awesome. I'm gonna start this way this time, Ms. Bella. What % of parents would you say are really engaged in the school?
Well, I would say we really get 80 to 90% of our families are really, when we look at our open house, we get almost close to 100% of families. Even during our parent conferences, all our parents would come. When we reach out, there are some families, though we have to reach out more than once or twice or just give them other options. But I would say 80 to 90% of our families are really
and
involved.
that percent does include him.
I'm not sure.
I pop up every once in a while. My wife actually handles that.
Okay.
My wife handles the micro handle.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Bryant, I would say about 45 to 50. I think what's the challenge, many of our parents are working multiple jobs. And so, we try to provide other ways to engage them, at different days of the week. We'll send home in our newsletter interactive activities, return to school, kind of like a game kind of thing. So it is a little more challenging because of the dynamics and
Understood. Like I said before, it's efforts that are made. That's the important part. As long as the efforts, you can't force participation. You know how often I try to get people to come out for the budget and advocate. Not for lack of trying, but we got a room of city council that's half empty yesterday. It's not for a lack of trying. I know I gave my best efforts. I know sometimes you give your best efforts and they just can't get
Yeah.
people engaged that need to be engaged because of circumstances.
Yeah, no, I would just add that, because of the pandemic and with how the dynamics have changed, I think parents have been struggling with, juggling and everything. So I think we really now I'm seeing the effect as slowly they are returning, but it was a different dynamic for the last 2.5
Yes.
years.
and definitely because we would have a much higher, I would say pre-COVID, we were closer to the 75.
And some schools really have a demographic that can't be engaged either way, no matter what efforts are made. But that's a whole bigger problem.
Well, I think we also, need to be, look at different ways of engagement too and ways to measure. And a parent square, I think is really, more, because I have access to it, I see much more teacher-parent communication.
I love parents.
Because there is now a vehicle to do that at any time of day.
Later.
We also have Parent Square. However, the majority of the parents in our school do not speak English. So what I do every day that I am in the building, at dismissal time, I'll go out, like when we have flyers going out or something, and I'll hand them to parents and talk to them right there in their language so that they can feel more comfortable about coming into the building. Because some of them, especially new arrivals, almost feel like they don't belong or that, they don't fit in. So that's one of the things I purposely go outside and talk to parents and hand them, papers or flyers or whatever, and entice them to come into our meetings and come into our school. And it takes a little extra effort, especially with new arriving parents that are still not comfortable in their environment. So.
The last question I got, I'm gonna start on this end this time. Do you ever struggle to spend the allocation for the parents? Is it ever like too hard to spend the money?
No, not really. I mean, if you plan ahead and you talk about what are the needs of each building, like that's what we talk about. What are some of the things? So if you plan ahead, because there's a whole process. As you know, we have to find vendors. You have to make sure and if it's anything, it's $1,000. You have to have 3 vendors. You can't just do one quote. So if you plan, it's a lot of work. Yes. So if you plan ahead and you know what you're doing, and then you also have to make sure that they are a vendor. If you find something cheaper, but if they're not a vendor of the district, you can't process it. So you can make them a vendor if they're willing to. So those are the things. But most of the time you are able to do it. You just have to coordinate and collaborate with the PAC and say, hey, is this what we are doing? So let's put it on the calendar and then let's do this so we can get whatever we are looking for, X, Y, and Z, whether it's a speaker, whether it's the monies or for, materials, whether it's the food, but you really have to plan ahead to do all this, because by April 14th, we have to submit everything. So if you are planning something in May and June, you need to make sure that you're doing it in March.
That's what they call the action plan, so they have.
Action plan is there, and so it's matching, because sometimes you do the action plan and then things happen and you want to change it. In previous years, you could change it, but now you have to, again, go back to them and say, hey, I need to do this instead of this. Is that okay? Because it has to match the action plan.
All right, to finish my portion, I'd just like to get back up on my soapbox and say, yeah, it is a lot of work and the work is appreciated, but the work should be seen as an investment. I mean, so once you get a strong parent leader in your building, they can operate as a partner, and you get a lot more parent volunteers in your building. They could take a lot of load off of the principals. They could be more engaged in their parents' homework and the students' homework and schoolwork, and make things eventually a lot easier. They should not be seen as a extra person looking over your shoulder. sure nobody looks like that. Like I said, I'm going to give the same speech every day, so people who need to hear need to hear. I'd like to thank you very much for listening, and I hope I've done it in the most respectful manner. Anybody who has any suggestions or advice, feel free to reach out to me and tell me how I could do this better. Oh, wait, one last question. Is there anything we could do as a board to help support you in the building?
Be free to say, be free to say.
I asked.
I suggested perhaps reintroducing parents as teachers to help parents teach parents how to be your child's educators at home. That was a suggestion I made from something that was done over 50 years ago. I forgot how long ago that had been.
I just continue to support the buildings and the principals just to, sometimes it gets not a whole, I mean, it's not overwhelming, but sometimes we get sidetracked with all the things. So, they've done a great job of sending us reminders. This is due and this is due. And I think the district is doing a great job with that. So we know that we are also on track that, it's not just P10 because we have P9s and P8s and everything else in between. So we want to make sure Marlene's all the, and it's, organized and it's well. It's just sometimes when we are off track or if we are not there, just say, hey, I see it and we get that and we appreciate that.
Right. And one of the suggestions to add to what you said, many of us have some ideas that the others would appreciate if we shared them with each other. So it would be nice to have some type of sharing sessions on what to do with PAC.
And we have spoken to other principals. Sometimes we say, hey, what are you doing? We can suggest. Our PAC was talking about it. How are you spending your money and what other activities are you doing? So it's just like
it's some type of sharing.
That's always good.
Yes, so that and maybe something can be set up, a meeting or something once.
Do you guys have, the PAC meets with other PAC,
Yeah, that's something that we're trying to get back together again. And as I said, we're making a lot of efforts to get the district back together.
Yeah.
And it's been since I chaired the committee. I chaired it for 3, trying to get it back. He's getting up to 2, and we're almost there. We're almost there because once we make the investment in the time, get the district packed up and running. We don't have to have conversations about where the money's going. We can send it out. District PAC leader could go to the PAC. You're supposed to have this.
Right.
Talk to your principal and let them know that they got you got to collaborate to spend this money, and that that just applies to anybody in this room. That they're not in charge of spending the money, and they can't tell you no as long as it has an educational purpose instead of being on the board. And we as a committee finally let that go and move on. It's like if you guys get your strong PAC leaders and they know the only thing you got to do is glance at the P10 and looks okay, educational purpose, boom, maybe you got to open the building on a certain day or whatever. And that's something off of your table.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No,
Great,
I
thank
think
you.
I said it. No.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. John. I appreciate that. I want to go back about when they spend the money in the P10. I know when they send the P10, this is very different, the P10, what the secretary said. It's another P10 that Ms. Rocha and Mr. Plana, that I want the leaders to do, because sometimes when you got a title and all these PAC leaders, one not only have a title and be under the president or let the secretary or the principal do the job. They need to do something else. If you want to be a president, you want to represent parents in your school, you have to do some job. Because I did it for so many years in Bassett High School for 4 years, and I know how the P10 go. That P10 is that whatever you order, they put the amount, how much it costs and everything, when they come in, description, that's the PAC president of PTSO had to fill out that form. And then the principal and the PAC president have to sign it. That's the proof that how much money you spend it. That's the proof that the principal have, because we don't want, like Mr. Joe said, and I really had experience, this year, and I spoke with Rocha about so many times in the meeting, that some principals that using the money would not let them know the PAC or the PTSO. They cannot be doing that. So when this happened, I just take the phone and tell them, Mr. Stanley, this is what happened. Can you please verify because I spoke with the PAC or the BTSO person and they told me they never send it, they never signed for this, and I don't want that. I don't want Hartford come after us and say why this happened because any parent they can make a complaint about that, and we don't want that. So that's how I'm going to be working from the next time when I come. That have to be there. So when the principal and the president sign, that's the proof they know how much money they use, and they don't say, "Hey, I agree." And I always told my leaders, we show you let them know the principal of the school, what time and what day you have in any event. They are the one in charge of the building. You have to let them know first. Be sure because sometimes maybe you have something that day or you're not going to be or you have to do something with the staff. We don't want that same thing,
And also we have to do the activity report for them.
the
So,
AMR,
yes.
100.
AR 100,
Yeah.
you know that.
You don't need to see how it gets. I was 4 years ambassador, trust me, I know all that.
Yes.
So it's very important. You said something about the action plan. When you do an action plan, just wanted to let you know, and I spoke with Marlene Seco about that. If let's say you say do your math night, and you do something in May, but now the leaders, they want to do something different, that's not be a problem. It's not gonna be a problem. The most important thing we have to date when you send it as the action plan, that's the first thing I always tell the leaders, send that and you'll be done. You don't need to be worried about that. You don't want, they email the principal, they email you, what's the action plan, what's the action plan. When you send that, whatever you send, that's fine, but they know you're gonna spend the money. Let's say you, for math, you wanna change signs, that's not a problem. You can change that. You're not gonna have no issue. The point is to spend the money.
Yes, they had questioned us, like, I'm like, okay, all right, sure, we'll take the PAC that we just switch this and.
No, you can, they can switch it. The PAC, they can switch, that's no problem. When they say educate for the parent, you're not gonna have a problem with that. The point is, it's something there.
Sure.
It's educate for the parent. They can be math, science, physical, anything. Or something else I want to ask you. Okay. So far, yeah. So, Mr. Plana, after this, listen, you have any question, Are you sure? Say it.
100%, 100% sure.
Thank you.
Ms. Lynn, I know you have any question. I know you're very quiet over there in your house.
No questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Joe, do you have any more questions? Anything about everything about discussion that needed? This is one of the reasons that you said, and I just remember, Ms. Leiva, this is when we start. That's why one of principals and leaders know each other, the principals, so you can share ideas. Sometimes your school, your president and your president, they can do something together. You don't need something to divide the sale. You can share our two schools together, do something more big. I wish I can go back to elementary school because elementary school, you feel that parents come out more. When it's high school, it's a little side.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's my experience. It was tough, but I never give up and I always be on top. That Mr. Plan, I'll be on top to bring parents high school because sometimes when they're high school, they feel the parents say, oh,
They kind of
I don't need to
divorce
tell
the
them.
children.
Yeah, and for me, it's when you have to take care more your kid in the high school. People say, well, then they don't know. I've been watching. No, yeah, he's okay now.
Right.
He's okay. When he's a little big, when you go 8, 9, 10th grade, that's the when you open your eyes more. You have to be careful because high school now, kids start. I'm in shock. Thank God I raised the way my mother raised me. But
Yeah.
it's different. And you want to say something? No, okay. I think, okay, Mr. Boy, so I believe that's how I appreciate that. I'm going to keep going on the agenda. You want to stay, you will stay. I appreciate that. And I'm going to keep doing this, share with another principal impact leader, and thank you for everything you do. I know it's not easy, with the COVID, deal with some parents. We got parents that do, we got crazy parents, like I always say, but at least you never give up. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Ms. Leibert, thank you for being here.
Very much.
Advocating for our students and families.
Thank you.
For your work.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody.
Every year, I think it's going to be my last year.
That's what you say. It's always best.
This is year 54 for me working in education.
Oh, wow. Don't worry. You're not going to quit.
No.
No.
I can't quit.
Have a good night, ladies. Thank you so much.
I'll say,
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Ms.
Karen, go.
Now, then the four, and then, the agenda, I'm going for the permit as well, application 2021-22. Ms. Russia, Ms. Lane, your floor is yours.
Sure.
You don't need me?
No, but if you want to stay, a little while, whatever, you can stay.
Up to you.
Up to you, we want you to stay. You never, this is the first time you come to my committee, so
Yes.
your floor is yours, Ms. Russia, Ms. Lane.
So Lynn and I provided the report, the expenditure report, as of 4/26/2022. And so for all elementary and middle schools, on average, 98.6% was used. So we were really excited to see those high numbers, and also taking into account that some of the money that is left over can be still used for personnel, for holding workshops, for paying staff. So there is still some time for us to use whatever is left. But we're excited to see that, over the last few months, a lot of the schools and parents worked collaboratively to spend their parent involvement budget. And for the high schools, we're at 99%.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's awesome.
yes.
I'm very glad that, special, Central High Schools, I was worried about that.
Yes.
And I told her, let's listen, you have to spend that every hour. I was almost every 2 days, I was sending this message to the president. Something else, do you really spend it? We're almost done, April 14th is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I'm very glad, this very spend it very well.
Definitely. And I could definitely give a lot of credit to Lynn. She has, did a lot of outreach to the PTSO presidents. We still hold monthly roundtables. So every month we invite all of the parent leaders, basically any parent leader that wants to come. So we're still doing that monthly. And we have a PAC and PTSO team where we do share vendors, successful events, some different ideas, resources that we can purchase. So I think hopefully a lot of those efforts were.
No, thank you both for you about the list you sent it to me with the vendors, the more top pack leaders that can orders for them, because sometimes like she said, sometimes you have a good person, they have the restaurant, but it's not vendor.
Right.
So they will take time to be registered, the form and stuff like that, and then you have to use somebody, because I know the grand office, they have almost 65,000 vendors. So it's crazy to figure out which one is it. But I appreciate both for you that you really take the top. And every time I go to a restaurant and I know the food is good, I really register 3 vendors. I said, you want to be vendors for preschool school, stuff like that and everything? And I explain how everything works. And they say, yeah. And I bring the form to them.
Great.
This is what you're going to do. And I put my card there, let them know, send it to you. And they will explain you over there in the office how
You
everything
need to give one to Miguel Martinez so he can cook some Latin food.
It is registered and everything, got a license, everything's fine. And that's what I'm trying to do, so we can be on top and not have it. So just in case any leaders, they say, Mr. Bennett, I need to know what kind of vendors, so I can send you the list, you guys send it to me,
Absolutely.
or I send it what I have,
We can add
it can
it.
be on top. And their vendors, they're very happy to serve, It's one new one, and it's from Colombian. It's next to Holiday Inn, that little street, I forgot the name. Oh, they're amazing. They are amazing. Yeah, they cook amazing. Yeah, no, I have a few. I got a few people, I try to be sure. We have now a new restaurant in the main street. It's a Mexican. They don't know. They do for the city.
Okay.
But never do for preschool school. So I really send it to be a vendor. They are a vendor now.
Great.
And because I'm thinking ambassadors are going to use it for me.
Okay.
From Cinco de Mayo. So, stuff like that. So we can know, I can let them know the leaders, get on top of that. Any question, Mr. Joseph?
Oh, sir.
Anything else to say, Mr. Lin?
Yeah, I'll just add that we actually had a round table meeting last evening, and that was a request by parents that although the vendor list is available online on our teams, that parents would like a hard copy of it. So that's something that we're going to start to do at the roundtable is bring a hard copy of the vendor list to the roundtable. We update it regularly, and my hope really for this year, which was we had minimal results, but hopefully next year we'll have more results, is to have parents contribute to that list on a regular basis. And I think if they see the hard copy, that probably will happen more frequently.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know you had the roundtable last night. I was not here because I was in City Hall. We were talking about the budget, and and everything went very well. I believe they understand our message. How was the last night, the parent? How many?
The turnout was a little bit disappointing.
Okay.
But we had a few, and Lynn met with them and talked a little bit about the handbook as well to get some ideas from them too. And then we had a presenter from Be the Change CT there to talk a little bit about the resources available through their program.
Okay.
So although the turnout was small, I think it was productive.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful meeting. In the end, I called it a focus group meeting. I received a lot of great feedback from the parents that did attend, and we're going to work together as a focus group, and I will include other parents as well to answer some really important questions about engaging our parent leaders and other parents as well. So they identified some core things for us to focus on that I'm going to share the notes with them, and I can share the notes with you as well.
Yeah, I spoke with Mr. Testani, and this is what we're trying to do. And I'm gonna talk soon. It's in the parent convention. Try to do workshop for all the leaders, PAC leaders, PAC and PTSO, so we can train them what they can do and work with the principal, what kind of workshop, how they can bring parents in the schools, to do workshops. So Mr. Testani will talk about that. Something else, Ms. Lane and Mr.
I think, yes, Mr.
Yeah, I'm just having a thought. How are the roundtables advertised? They're welcome, all the parent leaders are welcome, or is it like any other parents as well?
So Lynn has a distribution list of all of the parent leaders' email addresses. That's the president, vice president, secretary, anyone that the school has identified as a parent leader. So we send them the email with the dates for the whole year, and then Lynn sends the reminders. We post it on our team, but we don't turn anyone away. So we don't really advertise to all parents, but we always say that all parents are welcome.
Because I'm wondering if maybe could be done a little bit during parent school, and I'm thinking of an idea I had way back when. I just was never implemented. I was speaking to the kindergarten parents. As soon as they come in, because when you first get a kid into school, you're going home and it's the time to grab them. So I don't know if we could send out some messages to some kindergarten. I don't know if it would be feasible to send it out to all kindergarten parents, but seeing as the turnout, if it's like 2% or whatever, we might be able to get them something over. I don't know if that would be a good idea or
That's a
feasible.
good idea, because that's the when I started. Webster School was open. My son came for first grade. I started in New York, kindergarten, and then when I moved here, my son came first grade, Webster School. That's why when I got there as the PAC president at Webster School, Miss June, she was the homeschool coordinator. She's the one I speak one day in a meeting. She had rapped me. She said, "You want to be the PAC president?" And from that day, I was all PAC president, PTSO president, and then look at where I am now. And I agree with you. We started off.
And if you could get them seeing some of the PAC leaders, some of the kindergarten parents who want to be at.
That's where you want to get them.
Parent leaders, they could take over, because a lot of our parent leaders have been parent leaders for years. And I'm sure quite a few of them do it because there's nobody else that wants able to pick up the mantle. That might be something we want to look at.
Definitely. Thank you.
I agree. Something else? Something else? All right, I'm going to put number 5 and number 6 together very short because we're almost done. Parent convention, we never did it for this year. It was very short. We was very, we was busy, so meeting. I'm trying to put two committee at the same time, it's my personal life. So I really have the committee for that. So I really spoke with Marlene Siegel to be sure we're not going to lose the money. He told me, no, we can use this for next year. So it doesn't mean we can have even more money. So at least I had time with the committee, what we're going to do. We're on the parent convention, the week is in down, what kind of workshop, or maybe we can do 2 parent convention, one in the fall and one in, another, another
Spring.
for May, spring, something like that. So we cannot, because we're going to have extra money. I already told with the committee, we're going to try to send out next month to see what we can have a plan. I would like to invite you, both of you, Ms. Lynn and Mr. Planner, to see what we can have a meeting. Someone, Mr. Testani, to have all of it at the same time. And we can sit down to talk what we can do. We prepare, for the parent convention. At least we don't lose the money. That's very important. And I was worried about that, but I will have to confirm from Ms. Marlene. I believe I forwarded to you those information. Thank God. And the district PAC, the same thing. I have the committee. I'm a top. I'm working with that one in the summer with that because we need the district PAC back. Having the district PAC back, your job, Ms. Lynn and Ms. Rocha, is gonna be a little more less, no more stressful, and for us either, because now all these pack leaders for each school and PTA, so they can go to address the pack lead. You know, and we want that then after so many years, right, Mr. Joe, that the district pack president come to the board education, meeting, and they would give a report, what's going on, what happened, what they do, what they're gonna do and stuff like that. And then the life is gonna be more easy for everyone. So all these leaders, they know who to call, how, where to call. You don't need to go so straight to the principal or straight to one of you. They can go to a district pack. Is there any issue, and then the district pack president, they will go straight to the principal and speak, listen, we had this situation, like that.
Right.
Because, and then the life is gonna be easy for everyone. Now, you have any question for that?
No, again, that district backup, like I said, will save us a lot of work.
Yeah,
And this
a lot.
agenda would probably have maybe two items on it
Yeah.
right now. We could-
I don't need to add all this, I don't need to print. Mr. Planner, you have anything to say? No, are you sure? Quiet today. What happened? Quiet.
Good. Just tired.
All right, you make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Or you don't have to.
I don't have to,
Nobody
sorry,
here.
somebody,
Just gotta disconnect.
So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Lynn. Thank you, IT. Thank you, John. Thank you for everyone to be here. Good night and have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank
Take care.
you. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
So what about Ms. Ms. Leyva? I'm very glad you're back. I'm very happy. You always say she's